Hi, hey, what's up, everyone? It's Ethan Etchart. We're back on my channel again. We're talking about stress. This is kind of like a four or five part series about stress and how we can mitigate it at a higher level and basically get ourselves out of living in survival mode, right? So let's get right into it. Living in survival mode, right? We're tired of this. We're depressed. We're worrying about something that happened in the future that we cannot change. We can't control it, and we're still depressed. So we're running off hormones. Our hormones are going crazy because we feel like crazy and we feel so sad and everything. Then anxiety, right? This is when we're worrying or sad about something that might happen in the future that we cannot change or control. And because of that, we have high levels of cortisol. We feel extremely stressed out. Our heart rates are crazy. We have high levels of norepinephrine in our body. And because of that, we can't build muscle. We feel extremely lost and sad. So again, I'm a personal trainer. I help people with addiction. So let's get into that now. So addictive behaviors are very fascinating because a lot of times they're helping us either hide, alleviate, pacify, or react to stress in our environments. And very interestingly enough, there's a cool quote I just learned about stress and the idea of suffering as well. It's an inability to allow yourself to expand and let go of what's happened to you in the past and what could happen to you in the future. So I learned that yesterday from Michael J. Rosenfeld. He's a performance coach that helps out high performing athletes and CEOs. And it was very powerful messaging because you just think about it, it goes straight to the ideas of living in survival versus living in creation. And when we're extremely stressed and we're very limiting ourselves, we can't let go of the past, we can't let go of what happened in the future. That's when we are living in survival mode. When we're living in creation, where we are looking to expand our consciousness and expand what we can do with our lives and what we can create and the relationships we can have and the love we can have around us. We're unstoppable at that point, and we don't have to suffer because we have so much love and ability to create more beautiful things around us. So, especially as a fitness guy and as someone that helps people with addictive behaviors, I just want to really point out the fact that most of the reason we have these addictive behaviors is because we're suffering in the moment to some degree. If you were completely content and had peace in your life, you wouldn't be smoking cigarettes all the time. You wouldn't be getting drunk 4 days a week. That's just the reality of it. If you were happy with what's going on with your current circumstances and your ability to expand beyond that, you wouldn't be doing addictive behaviors. Okay. So that's why we need to understand there's this huge connection between stress and addictive behaviors, and the link of suffering is what bridges those two together. And so how can we manage stress? How can we get rid of these addictive behaviors? Well, in my last video, we talked in general, I got deeper into this in general, but today we're going to dive deeper into how exercise and working out helps us manage stress right now. And so I mentioned in the last video, there's 4 really big ways how to manage stress today: working out, meditating, creating stuff, and then social connection. So let's get into the pieces about working out. In the further videos, you're going to learn about why meditation and creation and social connection is so important for managing your stress today and getting out of survival mode and getting yourself into creation mode. Okay, so first of all, there's just this huge bi-directional relationship between stress and the effect of physical activity and healthy eating. Okay, so what that means is, like, when we're stressed out, we're not exercising a lot and we're probably eating like crap. And then the opposite, when we are working out a lot and we're eating pretty healthy, we have way less levels of stress. Okay, so there's been a lot of studies out there, but here's one I found that was pretty recent in the last few years. This is what is already obviously known. Physical activity can reduce stress as well as negative emotions and can enhance positive emotions. Okay, and people tend to eat less healthy food during stressful times, and healthy eating can increase general health. Okay, physical activity and healthy eating have been mostly assessed separately through retrospective methods. Basically, that just means is that a lot of times they don't correlate the two with stress. They usually just do like one at a time. They'll just measure like how physically active someone is compared to their stress levels. Then same thing with healthy eating. But in this study that they tried to look even deeper into it, and they actually didn't find that healthy eating was necessarily associated with your current stress or emotional level. But everything about exercise and stuff like that totally supported the points of the bi-directional relationship of stress and physical activity. So after working out, people feel less stressed, less negative. They feel great, more positive. And then there's also, in general, people have heightened senses of like self-confidence. And as you get into long-term benefits, people are beginning to look more fit. So they feel better about the way they look. And it just plays into their esteem in general and mental health is dramatically increased through exercise. And I'm not saying that exercise is the main thing you got to be doing, because it obviously can become sort of a vice to some degree, where you're just all focused about your vanity and working out 24/7. Like, it definitely gets to a degree that's not healthy as well, that can be toxic. But that's like extreme levels of exercise. Okay, that's like all the time, and like worried about every single piece of food you eat every single day. Like those cultivate eating disorders as well. Okay, so let's just get into the general idea though about why exercise is so important. So in general, right, we're going to lower the chronic diseases. This is well supported by the research. Depression, diabetes, heart diseases, and eating disorders generally are decreased by exercise. And like I said, eating disorders can come from exercise. Think about like the long distance runners who become like anorexic, or the UFC fighters and wrestlers that have to cut weight, stuff like that. That obviously has some negative connotations, but in general, people are having incredible results in the long term by decreasing chronic diseases through exercise. And that's just supported everywhere. Okay. And then the other big part about it is just leveling up. You're going to feel a million times better. You're going to look beautiful. Your cortisol levels are going down. Dopamine levels are going to be higher. You're also going to be able to activate your natural endocannabinoid system through exercise and release endorphins. And so you're just going to have a lot of beautiful, happy chemicals experienced through exercise. And in general, when you do that on a regular basis, your stress levels are just going to be lower. And then the opposite of working out is sedentarism, living a sedentary lifestyle. And so this is this website I found, juststand.org. And what they just point out is that most people are spending like 12 hours a day sitting down doing nothing. And this is actually, a sedentary lifestyle is a fourth leading risk factor for global mortality, and is physical inactivity. So that's pretty insane, right? Like, one of the fourth leading risk factor for global mortality is just people are not exercising at all. And they're just cultivating chronic diseases like heart diseases and diabetes and stuff like that. And they're completely falling apart, and they're dying young. They're dying younger. And stress has a big part about it, doing it too, is because when people have lower levels of stress, they generally live a lot longer. And so 3.2 million deaths a year from physical inactivity. And so, of course, like, there's not like direct links, but it's pretty suggested by the research. And just when you think about people that that have died kind of young, like young-ish for people like that are adults, right? Let's say like 60 or 70. A lot of times they have like a heart issue, or they have like a crazy liver issue. And a lot of times it's just they're not exercising and they're living very sedentarily, and that's leading to disease. So we know exercise is the way to go. So what do we need to do if we're not new to exercise? Like, what do we need to focus on? And so I do CrossFit, right? And CrossFit is very big on the 10 physical components of fitness. They're endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. So the big thing is, not everyone needs to focus on this, right? Like, most just keep it simple. Just focus on strength, getting stronger. Focus on mobility, which includes stretching, flexibility, and then range of motion with your joint. So like flexibility in action basically is mobility. And then endurance, number 3. So just keep it simple. But to go back on the 10 physical components, the reason why you feel so fantastic when you're playing sports, and like why you can get to such a great level of just performance in general, is because you're working a lot of times on these 10 different categories, and they're all very different, but they're all very important. And this is why, for instance, like a sport like basketball or football, they include all 10 of these. And so you can become extremely athletic, extremely fit by participating in a sport that you love. And so do what you love and don't stop. But the main things are, if you can focus on some bit of these 10, you're going to crush it. But most obviously, just these big 3, if you're newer to exercise, just think about getting stronger, lifting weights, and then think about doing your mobility, do some stretches before you work out. And I can get, if you follow my content, I have a lot more stuff on exercise in general. So you got to like and follow my pages on Instagram and my website, Ethan Etchart Fitness, because this is obviously my jam. I'm a personal trainer, so I know way more about the stuff on a deeper level. But if you hit one of these 3 things, and you're going to lower your stress just dramatically. Don't complicate it at all. If you like to run, then just keep running. Go run your 3 times a week. But you got to add in some strength as well, and then add some stretching in. So maybe if you, like I said, you're a runner and you haven't really lifted weights, you should go join a CrossFit gym, or you should go join any other type of gym that might have some weightlifting instructing, or follow videos on the internet that show you how to lift weights safely, because you need to do it correctly, especially when you're trying to use more weight, or else you could hurt yourself. And none of us want that. We don't want negative associations with lifting weights, because when injury happens, a lot of times people have trauma from like getting injured from a sport, and then they don't think it works for them in the long term ever again. But in reality, healthy, well trained, constructed resistance training is like the best thing you can do for your body in general. And a lot of the research now is supporting strength training over endurance. Forever, people thought you just had to do a million hours of cardio to be fit and live forever, but now they're seeing that really it's just more about strength. A big thing that, like, two leading predictors of how long you're going to live in your life are the strength of your quadriceps. Okay, that's the front of your thighs, and your grip strength on your hands, your wrists, forearms. So, which would totally make sense, because for your quads, this is how you get up out of the chair. So if you can't get up out of the chair, then you're going to die a lot faster. But if you have strong legs, because you've been lifting weights and doing squats, you're going to be able to get out of the chair until you're 120 years old. And then when we go to your hands, grip strength, if you get old and you're frail and you can't grab anything, then you're going to have a lot of issues surviving. But if you have a strong grip, like you've been doing pull-ups and you've been doing deadlifts, you've been doing dips like a lot of your life, like just some exercise in general, increase the strength of your upper body, you're going to live a very long time as well. So with that's just basically the main part you want to understand about becoming more fit, lowering stress. And I know that's one of my cheat words I always say is you got to understand this and that, but it's very important to not complicate it. Just keep it simple, and remember that a lot of times we are feeling stressed out, right? Let's go back here. We're feeling stressed out. And so we fall into these traps of depression and anxiety because we're so caught up in what happened in the past and what happened in the future. And we got to live right now in the moment. And if we don't allow ourselves to get there by using healthy stress management techniques like exercise, we're going to cultivate addicting behaviors. We're going to be lost. We're going to be sad. And life in general is going to be a lot more difficult. So we don't want to get to that point. We want to stay healthy. We want to stay fit. And so that's how this video is. The next video will be diving into those other topics that are going to help you manage stress, such as meditation, creation, and social connection. But thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. EthanEtchartFitness.com is my website, at Ethan Etchart on Instagram, and drop a comment as well. I'll see you guys in the next video.